Hey guys, welcome back to that sports stuff video. Today, we'll be going over the 425 and later games from week 18. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Again, going back to this format of making videos where it's just pictures on the screen. I'm giving it a little bit of a try. It's more personable. You can also just put it on in your car and just listen. You don't have to think that anything's to be on the screen. I also have a picture of the team that I'm talking about. So let's get into this video. Starting off at 425 was the Chargers at Raiders game. I didn't really catch too much of this game, honestly, the 425 games at all, because I recorded my last video. I had it on the background. But Chargers at Raiders, what I did catch, I was very impressed with the Chargers. It may show 34-20, but if I'm not mistaken, it was 34-13 until like a garbage time touchdown by Aiden O'Connell. He looked pretty okay. Aiden O'Connell looked pretty okay. If the Raiders do draft someone, I wouldn't be shocked if Aiden O'Connell actually sticks on the roster and is either the backup or even maybe he starts year one and then their quarterback eventually takes over for Aiden O'Connell. But he played pretty solid today. Every game he's played this year, he's shown flashes of being a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. I doubt that he'll actually get like a job or anything as a starter anywhere, but he played pretty well. But honestly, the story is the LA Chargers. I mean, whether it's the run game, the passing game, they are consistently just showing that they can win no matter what. What Harbaugh and the coaching staff he's assembled has been able to do has been nothing short of amazing. They've made Quentin Johnston, like I predicted would happen. He's been able to blossom. He had 13 for 186 yesterday. Absolutely amazing. I know he had one really big play that I remember seeing on NFL Red Zone. But Lam McConkey, 5 for 95. Even Darius Davis, that impressive touchdown catch that got called back, was an amazing catch by Darius Davis. Will Dissly played good. J.K. Dobbins, I'm happy he's healthy and playing good. The Chargers, they'd be fun. They're gonna be a fun team in the playoffs. Even if they go one, even if they don't win a single game, they just go 0-1 in the playoffs. This was a fantastic season because they're in the middle of a rebuild, right? Not a rebuild. They're in the middle of a retooling. They no running game still really. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards have been solid, but they're not a franchise pieces, right? Their wide receiver core is still developing. Defense is still rough, and they win 11 games and are in the playoffs, right? Like that is as impressive as it comes by Jim Harbaugh. And I'm very excited for the future of the Chargers. For the Raiders, it looks like Antonio Pierce will be sticking around. He just did an interview today on Black Monday where coaches usually get fired, saying he's heard nothing about him getting fired. So I do think they're probably going to keep Antonio Pierce at least for another 10 games, probably maybe 6-10 games. But he'll get the entire offseason and a quarterback to develop at least for a couple of games in the next season. That's what it looks like right now. That's what it looks like. So the Raiders, they have pick number 3 or number 4. They're definitely the team that, as a Browns fan, I'm eyeing a trade down, right? They're a top 5 pick. Let's trade down, get multiple picks from them. Maybe grab, I don't know who I would want. Maybe grab, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, maybe, right? They already have Brock Bowers. They don't need Michael Mayer. So maybe some kind of trade down of 2 firsts, a second, and Michael Mayer. They trade down so they can grab the quarterback of the future. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, Chargers 34-20 over the Raiders. Raiders, again, definitely got blown out. Got saved by that last-minute touchdown to make the score a little more even. But Aiden O'Connell looked okay. We'll see what happens with the Raiders. They're definitely going quarterback in this year's draft. Then the game that I thought would go the way it did, the Arizona Cardinals upset the 49ers. Because again, betting favorites is still the 49ers were the betting favorites. 47-24 Cardinals over the 49ers. I didn't think it'd be this big of a win, right? As happy I am for Kyler Murray after this season that, a lot of rough things happened this season. They started, I think they were 6-2, and they go 8-9. Rough way to end the season, barely missing out on the playoffs. But if I'm the Cardinals, I'm calling it a successful season, right? We saw Kyler Murray. He is up and down, yes, but let's get him some protection, right? They have not invested as much as I was hoped they would in the offensive line. They have a lot of guys that are, this is their second, third, fourth team that are starting, right? Whether it's Hajati Froholtz, whether it's Gus Hernandez, I believe it's G Hernandez from the New York Giants. Will Hernandez from the New York Giants is now on the Cardinals. Jonah Williams is their tackle from the Bengals, that first round bust. There are so many guys in this offensive line that weren't drafted at the top of the first or second round by the Cardinals. So I'm hoping that this year they do invest in the offensive line to keep Kyler upright and give him time to deliver the rock. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? As for the 49ers, tough season for them, going 6-11. Juwan Jennings was like 20 yards away from having his first 1,000-yard season, but he gets ejected for a joke of an ejection. Like, that was a joke of an ejection. It was completely a joke. Patrick Taylor, their fourth, fifth running back this season, goes over 100 yards. Isaac Guerrero did get injured this game. Hopefully it doesn't linger in the next season. Maybe it's something he can recover from and get back on the field for next season. But, they're a team. They have a lot of holes. I'd say mostly on offense. The offensive line is really rough. Obviously, having CMC go down and never really play a game. Like, yes, he did come back for like a 2-game stretch, but he was never really healthy. Then defensively, just falling off. Guys getting old. Guys, not getting, they're not performing to their contract. It'll be very interesting to see how the 49ers pivot from this 6-11 season. This is where John Lynch got to make his money, right? You drafted Trey Lance. You used multiple first-round picks to grab Trey Lance. He was gone after a year and a half. You've had a lot of good, I'd say, signings and value draft picks, but no good home run hits, right? So, I'm very excited to see what can they do in the middle of the first round to really capitalize on the 6-11 season and make sure it doesn't happen again. As for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, 4 touchdowns, 25 for 35. Great game by Kyler Murray. We're just wheeling and dealing. Spreading the ball around, which I really like. James Conner, I believe, is on IR. So Tony Jones, Michael Carter got the most carries. Trey Benson, I don't think even touched the field today. But Greg Dortch, 2 touchdowns. My guy, Greg Dortch. You guys know I love Greg Dortch. Marvin Harrison Jr. got a touchdown. Trey McBride got a touchdown. Like, this is a team that I truly believe can be an NFC playoff contender, right? I think they need to invest more in the offensive line. They need to get more front seven help, right? More pass rush help. I think the Cardinals can easily be a playoff team next year. I think Jonathan Gannon has built a solid culture. I'm excited to see what they can do next year, but I don't think they can do another year of missing the playoffs and not expect, heads to roll, right? Whether it's the GM or the coaching staff, they can't have another year of this. They just can't. As for the Broncos Chiefs game, it doesn't really matter, right? The Chiefs, they obviously were trying to lose so that they didn't have to face the Bengals at all in the playoffs. Broncos, good on them, taking advantage of this. Bo Nix going 26 of 29 for 321 and 4 touchdowns. Great game by Bo Nix. Again, it was the third, fourth strings for the Chiefs, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's the whole point of going against these guys in Week 18. What if they would have lost to the Chiefs or played it close? Everyone would have been dogging on them. They dominated. That's what they should have done. They did their job. Good on Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. The run game, I still have a lot of questions, right? Javonte Williams obviously is still not 100% from his knee injury. Jaleel McLaughlin is not a premier back. Audric Estime is also not a premier back. These guys they don't have a 3-down back, and then they have a bunch of guys that can come in for passing plays, right? Jaleel McLaughlin can be a home run hitter. Audric Estime can be somewhat of a home run hitter. Javonte Williams is that more scat back, but they don't have a true every down running back to get a first down. We're handing it to this guy. But that doesn't matter because they have a lot of good wide receivers, right? Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin. They had a lot of guys that I like a lot. And I think they're going to add another wide receiver in this draft, whoever it be, whether it's Tez Johnson, Bo Nix's adopted brother. We'll see what happens. But the Broncos going into the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. Good on the Broncos. Happy for them. Bo Nix definitely played way above my expectations. And I'm happy I was wrong, right? I want these guys to succeed in the NFL. I am more than happy to admit when I'm wrong, and I always hope that I'm wrong. For the Seahawks, LA Rams, Geno Smith cooked, dude. 20 for 27, 4 touchdowns. He cooked. I was a little shocked that Ken Grubb, no. Oh, what's his first name? What's Grubb's first name? Oh, that's gonna hurt. Grubb NFL. Ryan Grubb. Yeah, Ryan Grubb did get let go after this game. I thought it was a little interesting. I wonder why. I'm gonna have to ask around Seahawks Reddit and Twitter and see why Ryan Grubb was fired. I thought he had a really good season, right? 10 wins. The amazing play of Jackson Smith and Jigba this year, being a 1,000-yard receiver. It looks like Tyler Lockett is going to be retiring, which really sucks. I love Tyler Lockett. He's one of my favorite wide receivers in the NFL. But I guess DK Metcalf, maybe he had a down year, Maybe it was their run game didn't have a great year. I don't know. I don't know what happens that made the Seahawks fire Ryan Grubb. I'll be intrigued to see who they replace him with. Is it more of that run offense? Then you off the play action run, you throw to Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf. It'll be interesting to see. I definitely feel like there's something that behind the scenes that I just don't know why, right? I haven't dug deep into why they fired Ryan Grubb. But as for the LA Rams, I mean, this was their third stringers, right? A lot of rookies and second-year players were playing. Jordan Whittington, 3 for 86. Tyler Higbee got that touchdown. Tyler Johnson got a touchdown as well. There's a lot of guys that are, fringe roster guys that don't really play a whole lot with the 1 and 2s, getting a chance to play this week. Desjuan Johnson got a sack. Big ups Brian Young got on a half sack with Braden Fisk. Like, there's a lot of guys on this Rams team that I noticed their names, like, oh wow, I forgot they're in the NFL, right? Like, Ronnie Rivers is still in the NFL. Cody Schrader is still in the NFL. There's another name I saw that I was like, oh my gosh. Neville Gallimore is still in the NFL. Like, that is crazy. I didn't even know Neville Gallimore was still in the NFL. And I was watching the Rams game. That's one of the only games I did watch. I was watching the Rams game. I'm like, oh my god, is that Neville Gallimore from the Cowboys? Sure enough, it was. Yeah. So Rams going into the playoffs, hosting the Green Bay Packers. That should be a really fun game. We'll see how that game goes. After, obviously, we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes here. But they're hosting the Green Bay Packers. I'm excited to see what the Rams can do in the playoffs. Seahawks, 10-win season, not good enough to make the playoffs. NFC is tough this season, man. It's tough. Then for the Dolphins, Jets. Dolphins 20, Jets 32. Probably the most shocking score of the day. Aaron Rodgers going off for 4 touchdowns. The Dolphins had to win this game to have a chance in the playoffs. Didn't end up mattering because the Broncos won anyway. But Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns. And funny enough, it's 4 touchdowns to all the guys that he brought over to the Jets. You got 1 to Devontae Adams, 1 to Allen Lazard, 1 to Tyler Conklin, and thankfully 1 to Breece Hall. My God, Breece Hall. I love Breece Hall. It's very interesting to see Aaron Rodgers go off for 4 touchdowns after all the rumors that, oh, this is Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL, right? And after the game, he didn't deny that it was his last game in the NFL. I think he's probably going to take a couple of weeks to think about it, see if he wants to come back next season. But in my opinion, he's not coming back with the Jets, right? If he does come back, he is going to another team, and the Jets are drafting a quarterback either this year or they're going to sign someone and do it next year. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers demolishes the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill asked for a trade, as did, no, I actually don't think he did. I think it was just Tyreek Hill who asked for a trade, basically saying, I'm out of here. Going 2 for 20, I imagine, for a wide receiver who wants to win Super Bowls, wants to be in the Hall of Fame, watching his former team almost, going for a 3-peat, only having 1 ring out of that. I'm sure it's tough, right? I do believe that's got to be tough for him. I think there's a lot of teams that'd be interested in Tyreek Hill, and that'll be a video coming in a few days. My video of teams where I think he's going to land, how they could make it worth their cap space, and what I think it would take to trade for him. But yeah, Jets 32-20. Good job, New York Jets. Great game. That was just a great game to watch. But the most important game of the week, Vikings at Detroit Lions, 31-9, Lions win. Jared Goff had honestly probably his worst game I've seen him play in the last 2 years. Multiple dropped interceptions, a dropped pick 6 by Andrew Van Ginkel. Jahmyr Gibbs carried, right? I was worrying throughout that game because after Terrion Arnold got hurt, they say he should be healthy for the playoffs, but obviously after watching him get hurt, I'm like, dude, you're up 24-9. Pull your starters. And then still go out there, score another touchdown to Jahmyr Gibbs, get his 4th of the game. They're up 31-9, and they still have their starters in. Dan Campbell, it is going to bite you in the butt one day having your starters out there when you're up 31-9 with 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Put out Teddy Bridgewater, put out Craig Reynolds, and put out your backup wide receivers and offensive line. Just run the clock out. You got to stop, right? You got to stop it. But for the Vikings, Sam Darnold's worst game of the season, 18 for 41, 166. Aaron Jones seemed injured after the first half. I don't even think he played in the second half. It was all Cam Akers. But Cam Akers had 1 really good run and then really didn't do anything after that. Justin Jefferson got locked up by Meek Robertson. I think it was just a rough day for the Vikings. Aaron Glenn is a head coaching candidate for a very good reason. He's one of the best DCs in the league. and I think he probably will get a head coaching job after that game and after this playoff run they're about to go on. I think he's going to prove that even with the lackluster and injured Lions defense, they can still be a really good, well-rounded side of the ball. But yeah, that is my recap of the late window games of the NFL Week 18. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, hit notification to be notified when I post next. I am going to start doing my pre-NFL Combine off-season plans for all the 18 eliminated teams, starting from pick 1, working my way back all the way to pick 18. Hopefully by the end of the week 18 of episode 18, the playoffs should be almost done, so I can start going into the playoff teams as they get eliminated. Then after the Combine, we'll be doing it all over again with post-Combine and post-Pro Day stats. Also, obviously, as stuff happens, right, with Tyreek Hill, there'll be a Tyreek Hill video coming out soon. Yeah, I'm really excited. If you guys do enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.